Hi Aries, this is your weekly tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries. It is for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. The energy is, it's difficult energy. I'm not going to say that it isn't, because anytime Saturn is opposing something, it's difficult energy, and Saturn is in opposition to Mercury combust the Sun, and that's impactful. Not only that, but Mars is eking closer and closer to being in Virgo, and it's almost like a micromanaging aspect for Mars. So if you're feeling lately that your energy is just like, it's almost like, I'm going to say this, like you're driving yourself crazy, it's because of that Virgo energy influencing it. It's how Mars acts in Virgo. It's extremely like detail oriented, but to the point where it can almost get obsessive. And things must be done in a certain way, and if they're not, or time frames get messed up, it could spark some heat, it could spark some fire and irritation. So there's a lot of challenges to this energy right now. Let's get into your cards. Let's get into your cards. Aries. The waiting game is coming up in the past. Oh God, that waiting game sucks. Ooh. The waiting game sucks. Because it's not like patience isn't a thing, right? It's not like patience isn't important. We all know that. Now, for Aries energy, patience is difficult. It's a challenge, and it's actually one of the bravest, strongest things that you can do. But it is so not you. This is in the past. What have you been waiting for? Something that you have been waiting for is coming into play. These are the erotic tarot cards. I will share these images with you in the extended reading. The link is below. The Devil comes out in the past. And then we also have the Eight of Swords. Let me say this, Aries. A lot of people are dealing with fear, rejection, being alone, not being recognized or feeling recognized, feeling rejected, and depending on vices, getting caught up in vices to help them undo the stuck that they feel. This energy is coming out in your past, but the Nine of Swords is still here. And so is the Five of Swords in reverse. That's actually a good sign. It means that you're able to start facing your fears. And in facing your fears, have this conquest over being stuck, being rejected, needing the vices. Okay. Aries. Okay. In the past, we have know that your children are protected. That's in the past. Okay. There is grief here. I can feel it all around. And there is grief for all different kinds of endings. A sense of, you got stuck. I waited too long. I made too many sacrifices for somebody else. I stayed stagnated. I didn't pursue what I wanted to pursue. For somebody else, for the protection of somebody else. And honestly, you felt like you were doing the right thing. It's so interesting how we can feel like we're doing the right thing and be doing the wrong thing. Because there is this overwhelming sense of societal pressure that says, hey, this is what a good human is. This is what it looks like. And to achieve that goal, this is what I must be, even if it is completely and totally not me. So the suppression of the self for the sake of another almost became an obsession and a vice in and of itself, because when you are defeated, when you're pursuing what you love, it's a certain kind of hurt, but it's usually a motivational hurt of, well, because I love it. It's not about validation. I'm just going to keep doing it. But when you're defeated doing something that you settled for, it is a total defeat because it was always a defeat, because it was a vice in and of itself, because you were always pretending. The success was always false because it wasn't really you. So this is the essence and the unraveling of what has been happening in your life. And the good news is that you're realizing it in a way that is not prideful, and it is open to understanding. Now I understand the choices that I made were incorrect. They were wrong. This is about bad choices. And I know that sounds really judgmental. Let me explain, or let me remind you of what I said in the past, just a second ago. They were bad choices for good reasons. They were choices that seemed like they were right. And then why did everything keep going wrong? Because they weren't the right choices. They were not actually sincerely who you were, where you wanted to be, or what you wanted to do. Because that would have seemed selfish. And God forbid anybody be selfish. Maybe somebody needed you too much. People needed you. They needed your energy. They needed your ability to not give up. They needed those things, and they used you. And dressed it up as, well, Aries, you're just being a good person. You know, I'm expecting this of you because I have a right to expect these things of you. And it's just about being a good person. You wouldn't question these things because how would you question just being a good person? Was it their definition of a good person, or was it yours? Because I want you to really ask yourself this question. Were you a bad person? Were you doing something that was hurting somebody else? Or did the pain that they were feeling and experiencing come from just not having you to depend on, to do shit for them? Because that's not the same thing as you hurting somebody else, right? It's you deciding not to alleviate the pain somebody else is causing themselves. And then you think you're a failure, because a lot of times people can be very manipulative like that, is I'm going to hurt myself or continue to hurt myself or continue to make these bad choices in order to keep you around doing what I need you to do for me. All of a sudden, the enlightenment comes. And you realize that there's pain, that you realize there's suffering, that you have been basically locked down and held captive by somebody's by somebody basically threatening to hurt themselves, or leave you, making you feel like a failure, because that's what's really holding you captive. You don't want to feel like you failed. An overwhelming need to not feel like I failed. But what are you failing at? Are you failing? What are you failing at? Are you failing at your goals and your aspirations, or are you failing at somebody else's? Because just engaging in that energy is a failure in and of itself, because you've let what was important to you fall to the wayside. Aries. 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 We have peace and all that glitters. Peace all that glitters. Now the eggs shines out to me the most here because it's about new beginnings. It's about being born. What this tells me, Aries, is that you're in a position, or you're in the energy of either starting over, starting something new, starting fresh, a rebirth of yourself, hopefully in the image of yourself, of the image that you want, right? Not the image that is living up to what other people need. No, the image that you want. There is a piece of understanding the true self. And then all that glitters. It's fake. It's fake. This energy of, in other words, what this is telling me is somehow you were trapped by material possessions. That could be a salary, that could be clothes, that could be luxury items, that could be a home, that could be these things that are benchmarks for, or status symbols. You selling yourself out for in order to be the expected. You see how simple this card is. It's just nature, it's just natural. So it is almost in some ways the shedding of all that glitters, because it's too it's not worth it. You want freedom to live honestly, not to constantly have to chop another bit and piece off of yourself to continue to squeeze into a gilded cage. I don't think that you were stupid enough to chase just luxury. I think that all of this was playing on your heart space, which was, well, I need to have these things. You know, my 16-year-old needs to have a car, so I need to work the extra hours, or I need to go for the job that I can't stand, but it has the higher salary because somebody else, you know, they need nice Christmas gifts for the end of the year, or because something's wrong or they're having issues in their life. I have to work harder to compensate, to keep the shine on. And the fearless, sensational act of courage that is coming over you now is to be like, I'm not scared of the tarnished. I'm not scared of the dirty. I'm not scared of the unpredictable. I am wanting it because I am done blocking myself in, closing myself in this gilded cage. I'm tired of listening to things in my head, those voices in my head that tell me I have to do things. Well, I don't really even believe them because they're not what my heart says. I know my own bullshit now. And I'm not going to be held captive anymore by those voices outside of me that want to keep me there, that are encouraging me to continue to make these sacrifices of myself because it works for them. Don't work for me. Don't work for me. Aries. Yeah, you're throwing it all out, man. You're done showing up with all the pomp and circumstance and all the fancy and all the glittery. You're tired of it. You're done. Now, maybe in some ways you feel low. Let's talk about that. I'm sorry, my eye's bothering me. I apologize, but that's why I'm... There's a realization of I have not put my best feet forward. I may have shown up in a $50,000 Gucci suit, but I have not put my best foot forward. I have not done the best of me because I haven't been the best of me, because I haven't been the real me. This is about throwing away the pomp and the circumstance. This could also be a divorce card. This could be an ending of something that you were preparing for. It's almost like that sense of, this isn't about marriage. This isn't about romance at all. It's a metaphor. Am I getting married for the wedding, or am I getting married for the marriage? There was so much this essence of, I'm doing something for the pomp and circumstance. I'm doing something for the party, but I'm not doing something because I really want it. I don't want it, but everybody else wants me to want it. And they manipulated you by setting it up in your head the way your Aries can be easily manipulated. Make it a challenge. It's such an easy bait. You want to bait an Aries, you want to manipulate an Aries, you just make it a challenge. You make it something they can't do, something they've failed. Set it up as a failure for an Aries, and you're immediately going to hook an Aries. Like, I'm not a failure, because it appeals to that warrior in them, that battler, that one that wants to win. Without even thinking, do I want to win this? Do I want to win this? Is this even something that makes me happy, ever made me happy? Was I interested in it before somebody set it up as a challenge for me? How am I allowing myself to unravel myself? How am I allowing my baser instincts to be baited? And that's where the enlightenment has come from now. Is now you're starting to see, wow. They played me by using my own piano. And that's where real courage comes in, Aries, because it's not about pride. It's not about a reaction of, I want to battle more. That's just more energy that they can take. It's about, holy shit, I don't even want to be on this battlefield. I don't even care about this. You handle your shit. You can yell and scream in my ear all you want. You've lost, you've lost, you've lost. I gained my freedom. That's what I won. My freedom from your voice in my head. My freedom from these incessant needs and manipulations. My freedom from having a hook in my mouth at all times. Aries, you have such tremendous energy. I would say you have the most powerful energy in the zodiac. You are the cardinal fire sign. You are combustible and explosive. You are nuclear. Everybody wants to tap into that shit. Who wouldn't? Nuclear reactions can fuel countries. Who wouldn't want to tap into that shit? Interesting, right? Interesting. Aries. Spiritual or religious community is coming up in reverse. Either you are intentionally disconnecting from a group that now you've realized and recognized has done nothing but take from you because they're not really feeding you spiritually. They're just draining you. Or this is a recognition of, I haven't fed my own soul. I haven't been around the people who actually get me and understand me. Right? So the connection here is about the real people, people who get you, not people who just want something from you. And the disassociation from those people who are just manipulating. And then we have let yourself feel all your emotions. Your entire rainbow spectrum of feeling is sending you important messages and guidance. Allow all of you to come through. Not just those bits and pieces that are convenient for others. Ceremonies and celebrations. It's just a time now. It's the time. This is the new beginnings. This is actually a celebratory phase, even though it feels really horrendous. This is the egg splitting open. And then sensitive emotions. Times of heightened emotions and sensitivity call for extra self-care and gentleness. If you'd like to continue this reading, if you'd like to hear the rest of the story, I invite you to come over to the extended. The link is below. I'll see you guys over there.